How I miss the alligator croquet. Wish I was back on the sea yet. Wish I was still on the Caribbean cruise. Now I'm home reading the daily news. Hey man, this is the winter doldrums, people. The winter doldrums, man. But just to tie the whole room together, it was on January 11th that Columbus finally found the Pinta and they were able to sail home. January 11th, 1493, man, that ties the whole room together. Welcome to the doldrums of January. Isn't it very dull out there, man? Hey, man, you can't dole it out, man. You gotta take it. So, I know I've told you many, many, many times about Bobby G and his $300 guitar mania. You know, every twice, 3 times a year, I put away like $300. I save up some points on a special credit card I have attached to my eBay account, man, and I find a guitar for around $300 that I can get and I can restore, and it's very, very close to my heart. Now, the last time I did this was the instrument that I purchased, man. This guitar right here, this Vienna school guitar from about 1830, maybe even 1825. This guitar is very old, but you know what? I play it all the time. It's one of my favorite instruments. It's always out. It's always tuned up to pitch. Bobby G's always like, oh man, playing it for like 2 hours, like, parts of the guitar all over my hand. It's a very old guitar. Every time I play it, you know what I mean? Kind of degenerated a little bit because it's really a museum piece, but Bobby G loves those kind of instruments. I can't keep my hands off them, man. So, I've been working real hard through Christmas, you know what I'm saying? Very, very hard time, you know what I mean? Working and working, you know what I mean? Then I take my little time off. I go to the Caribbean. But right before I went to the Caribbean, and right before our little Columbus cruise, you know what I mean, Bobby G had something on his eye on the little eBay blip on the screen, man. I saw an auction. It was like a 10-day auction, like a real long auction, the longest you could possibly have, you know what I mean? It's an unusual romantic guitar, early romantic guitar. I looked at it, it was like, almost looked like it was in perfect condition. And you could buy it now for like $500, or you could bid on it for like $299. Ooh. And there was like $60 shipping, which was kind of a bummer. You know what I'm saying? It was all the way all over in Portland, Oregon, where it was the listing, but at least it wasn't in Italy. You know what I'm saying? So, right after I was done with that Harmony, actually, the Harmony Broadway guitar, right before Christmas, man. You know what I mean? I saw this and I was like, you know what? About to go away to sea. You know what I mean? I calculated in my mind the auction ends even after I come home. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I was doing all kinds of math in my mind. You know what I mean? I was like, no. So I got home, from the cruise, and I forgot all about it. You know what I mean? Because I only bid $299. You know what I mean? I figured it, you know what I mean? People were gonna. This is a very unusual looking guitar. It's very, very old. Just looking at it, I knew this guitar was probably between like 1790 and like 1815, probably around 1800, 1805, just by looking at it. It was like kind of like before they had like the standard, you know what I mean, Kraftwerk scale. You know what I'm saying? That this guitar actually has multi-scale on it, but the multi-scale kind of looks like a mirror image of like what we think of as multi-scale nowadays. So the previous owner thought it was a left-handed instrument just because it was a mirror image of all the guitars we know now. But remember, this guitar is like 215 years old. You know what I'm saying? At least. So I mean, they really, it was an experimental instrument. He bought it, he said, many years ago in France, in a European auction. You know what I mean? And he just couldn't resist it because it was just so old, it was so beautiful, so mysterious. And he said, sometimes things in life are so beautiful and intriguing, you'll never find the right answer, and that's why you want them. He said, I've hung on to it for many years, but, you know what I mean? It seems to me to be a left-handed instrument, I don't want to even touch it. He said he never even brought it up to pitch, he said. And this person I acquired it from seems like a gentleman, you know what I mean? I did communicate with him quite a bit about how he acquired it. Seems like a true gentleman, you know what I'm saying? And he seems to be a worldly man. You know what I mean? A very interesting individual, you know what I'm saying? So I'm very glad I was able to acquire it. I was very glad that nobody else bid on it because the way he listed it was he said it was left-handed. He said it was an experimental instrument. He said it was modeled after a Bandor. It really was just a guitar, And it's like, you know what I mean, infant state. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't until like 18, like 20, where the guitar sort of molded into its regular sort of thing. And I just looked at the picture of the headstock. I said, this looks like something that Fred Flintstone was playing on his break time, man. You know what I mean? It was so medieval, it's kind of like this, man, but didn't have Hello Kitty on it. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like, it looked to me to be something very, very primeval. And I was excited. I was excited. So I paid for it. You know what I mean? Talked to the guy. We're waiting for it to come in. It's going to get us off our doldrums from January. We're going to look at it together. It doesn't seem to me to need like a lot of work. You know what I mean? I haven't, you know what I mean, seen it yet. He only had 4 pictures on the listing. Should be here any day. It'll cure our January blues, people. It will cure our blues. So peace be with you. We're not going to do too many, you know what I mean, crazy episodes this month. We're just going to take it light, you know what I'm saying? And we're going to be appreciative. Just a special guitar. This isn't one of those $10 fly-by-night kind of guitars, you know what I'm saying? You got this at swap meet for $2 and, you know what I mean, a piece of chewing gum. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't one of them. This is a special instrument. It's an antique instrument. It's probably the oldest instrument I own. I don't even own it yet. It's still in the U.S. mail or wherever, you know what I mean, sender. I don't even know who shipped it with. I'm just waiting peacefully, patiently. Peace be with you. I'll see you on the slab. We'll have a beautiful box. We're going to open it together. Peace be with you. 2023, here we are. We're going to beat those doldrums in January together. See you in a minute. Just 1 minute. All right. So the box is finally here. Like 12 days through the coldest territory over the Rocky Mountains. You know what I mean? Every stop it made, it was like 12 degrees in a freezing FedEx truck. The last guitar we got of the classical variety was in the middle of summertime. And the heat of the 100-degree weather actually melted the glue. And the neck came off of it. So let's hope that it didn't crack this guy into a million pieces. It was acquired in France a long time ago. Antique instrument auction. Description according to the seller was that it was an early 19th century guitar, possibly a prototype instrument. I'm going to show you some pictures. I know in the history of guitars, we sort of talked about the history of guitars, right? And we were very specific about the history of guitars. And you know what I mean? I was pretty thorough in that presentation. I just want to go over a couple extra things. Just in case, man. Just in case you want to know some extra things. Now, this is one of the seller's pictures. You know what I mean? The instrument that's inside of this case. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of mystery behind it, man. It's got those fan frets, man. The multiscale frets, man. What's up with that, man? It's definitely left-handed. You know what I'm saying? I think this might be the earliest known left-hand guitar. And the earliest fan fret guitar in history. I'm saying this thing is definitely maybe late 1700s. You know what I mean? Look at the other pictures that came on there. See, now this isn't, you can't really tell much from this particular, except for the headstock, you know what I mean? The neck look old as hell. All made out of walnut, supposedly, on the sides. Look at that, you know what I mean? Old school, you know what I mean? That headstock, it's like the premature snowman, you know what I mean? It's like early 1800s, you know what I mean? Early 1800s. And the, you know what I mean, roseline lattice stuff. I mean, that's on a lot of French guitars from, you know what I'm saying, early 1800s. You know, like I'm saying, up to about 1815. And this particular bridge definitely is, you know, par for the course. So let's get into like a little bit of, you know what I mean, historic history. Now, we talked about the history of guitars. Now look at this, man. This is that old out I talked about a long time ago, man. It's kind of big. This is compared to that Harmony Broadway. It's a pretty big instrument. It's about 100 years old. You know what I'm saying? Probably about the 20s, 30s, something like that. But, I mean, it's pretty big. I mean, this Harmony Broadway is huge. You know what I mean? Next to it, you know what I mean? It's like a midget. You know what I'm saying? So, in Europe, you know what I'm saying? In that, you know, post-Renaissance age, pre-Renaissance age, you know, medieval times, you know, there was a need for something smaller. You know what I mean? Now, here's a picture of a man playing a lute. Looks pretty much just like our oud, right? Probably around 1200. 1200, this comes from 1250, something like that. From Spain, I believe. And you can see very clearly that he's playing the lute. And he's got this instrument here. That's called a gittern, man. A little gittern, man. Saying it's sort of like a guitar slash, you know what I mean, kind of like big mandolin. You know what I mean? That's how I can describe it. Only way I can really describe it, people. Here's something from about 1350. Right about then. See this? Lady's playing the lute very clearly, right? It's like smaller than our big owl, right? And this lady's playing the guitar right there. I want you to see what they really look like, man. This is like an illustration. This is the earliest guitar ever. You know, this is actually dug out of a Polish, outhouse. It's from about 1350 roundabout. And this is one that was like always, taken care of. This is from about Columbus times, like 1496, I think was the actual date on that. See, it's got the 5 courses, tied on frets, right? It's just the way it goes, man. These early days, man. Old days, man. So let's talk a little bit more about some instruments, man. About the dawn of instruments. This is from Michael Pretorius's late 1625, I think, was published. His musical, all the musical instruments in the world up to that point. We see the old cittern there, right? And he's got everything illustrated. All the string stuff is interesting. This is a 12 string zither. You see it's got the fan frets. I wanted you to zoom in on that, man. I want you to see the fan frets in all their glory, man. See the fan frets? And he's got the, inverted, you know what I'm saying? Bridge piece there. These are all the other stringed instruments. This was like the race for more and more strings. People want more and more and more strings to mess with. This is the concerna. This became like the guitar. You know what I'm saying? Already in Spain there was more than that, but you know what I'm saying? That's basically, the most popular. We see the old fashions, you know what I'm saying? But they just kept coming more and more courses. Then we got this, man. These had like 18 strings, like 9 courses. We got the big guy, which is lute size, as a bandora. That's number 1 right here, right? Then we got this guy right here, who's got guitar size. That's an orpharium, right? And then we got this little guy up top here, right? That's the panorcan. The panorcan was about mandolin size. That was a little tiny guy, man. Very few of these even exist to this day, man. But they all have those fan frets. You see? They all have the fan frets just like our instrument. They're all right hand now. See that, man? They're all right-handed. Handy dandy, man. But they are the fan frets. You know what I'm saying? These fan frets only existed from like 1610 to like 1625 and 1630 maybe. And we never saw them again until we saw this guitar. You know what I'm saying? Never saw them again. There was like a passing phase for instruments with lots of strings. And this instrument definitely had a lot of strings. Here's a tab book. Again, for a fan fretted orpharium. This one has 7 courses, I believe. You know what I'm saying? This is the way it is, man. Trying to get a little bit of tab out to the people, to the masses. You know what I'm saying? Get you educated. Now let's talk about history instruments we're talking about. This is the earliest known lute in existence right now. It's built in the year 1596, Italy. This is the oldest oud. This is probably only around like 1750, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Not many old ouds, man. Considering the fact that most ouds were made by traditional oud builders who didn't really change their style because they, you know what I mean, stayed away from Western media. So my 100-year-old oud is pretty much the same as like a 300-year-old oud. You know, they've been pretty much unchanged for like thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? Just want you to know, man. Just want you to see how in Europe they kind of got a little bit thinner, and you know what I mean. The original one maintained its size, man. We just want to maintain, man. So this right here, this is a cittern from 1550, right? This is from Italy, probably made by Urbino. 7 courses. I don't know if it's still playable, but you know what I mean. You get to see what people were jamming, like guitar-like instruments in the Renaissance days, man. You know, that's what their thing was, man. This is the cittern, right? That was the popular deal, man. And this right here is another cittern from the UK from 1579. Shakespeare's in full blown right now. You know what I'm saying? This is probably made by Rada. This is the earliest known as a Renaissance, cittern made in Italy and Great Britain. I'm sorry, man. I'm so excited. Forgive me for giving you false information. But you can see it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's a gorgeous, gorgeous instrument. Looks like it's got it's a straight 8-string 4-course. You know what I mean? Easy peasy. You know what I'm saying?
This was actually made by John Rose, who was credited with making the fan frets. I don't think he made fan frets. He's also credited for giving the name Bandora, Norfarian, and Penorcan. You know what I mean? I don't know if he did any of these things, but he made this particular Orfarian with straight frets. There's no fan frets shit going on here. Near 1590. Sorry about that, man. I'm all discombobulated, man. For Queen Elizabeth, man. This is for Queen Elizabeth. Regular old frets. You know what I'm saying? Probably only exists today because it belonged to royalty, you know what I mean? This is the first guitar ever that exists. There was one made probably like 10 years before this by Bartholomew Diaz. That still exists, but it's basically, it's more machine than man, you know what I'm saying? The front's been replaced, most of the ribs have been replaced. It's like nothing original about it. This is completely original. This is down in Ecuador. This belonged to Marina de Jesus, who was a saint. She was a guitar player in, like, you know what I mean, the early conquistador times, man. So this is probably like from around 1600. Set tied on frets. This is basically a worm box, though. Look at all the wormholes in the back there. Lots of damage done to it, but it's totally original. It's in Quito. You know what I mean? It's more like a relic than a guitar. But this is a 12-string, right? 6 courses, just like we know and love, man. This is the early guitar. So right around that time period, we got the good old Wolfarium, man. This is made in 1619 by Palmer in the UK. This fucking thing got 18 strings, 9 courses. Look at the weird back of the fretboard there. You know what I'm saying? Look at this. How it's got that little finger rest. Sorry about that. It wasn't always a straight neck thing. Look at this one. It's got like a weird kind of back of the neck. This is 1579. You know what I'm saying? And the older one, look at the back of this guy's neck. Look at that. Isn't that far out, man? Really, really far out. Far out stuff, man. So we get to this one. You know what I'm saying? We're talking pretty much the end of the line for the fan fret. You know what I mean? People were starting to dumb down, wanting less strings. You know, there's just too many strings on this trip, man. This is a guitar going back to 10 strings, made by Celis, Italy. 1630 roundabout. You see that? 5 courses, 10-string guitar. Beautiful instrument. Bold back. Love it. Love to own something like that, man. Vihuela. This is a Cittern from 1690, right about the turn of this, you know what I mean, the century there. Look at a weird diatonic scale it's got on the fretboard there. Isn't that weird, man? Let me zoom in on that, man. Just see it. You know what I'm saying? A weird kind of thing going on here. And it's got also had a weird back of the, you know what I mean, back of the neck, man. Just a strange look. This is from France, probably. Belgium, possibly. I'm saying a beautiful, beautiful instrument. But again, you know what I'm saying? Straight frets. You know, by that time, the fan fret thing was long gone. So let's talk about the fan fret instruments, the ones that actually still exist. The one we know about, man. This is one we talk about for 1619. It's only like less than 10, I'm going to say. Less than 10 original fan fret instruments known to exist. I can only find like 3 or 4 of them, you know what I mean, on the internet. This one's from 1619, right? This was made in UK. This one was made, I believe, in Italy. This was to be found in the Frankfurt Museum. It's the only picture it has. No longer strung. I guess it's damaged or just old. You know, it would get so old after, you know what I mean? A couple hundred years. You know what I'm saying? This is from probably like 1599, 1600, something like that. Fan frets. You know what I'm saying? Go down and up on the treble side. It's just the way it goes, man. Right-handed instrument. This is Orfarium. This is an old, you know what I mean, catalog view of the back. You can see that the back of the neck is actually straight. Just like a, you know what I'm saying? But it's 9 courses. There's no little finger rest in there. It's the Italians didn't need the rest of fingers. You know, we have the bigger fingers. It's also Italian. 18 strings. This one had its neck replaced in about 1700. This is probably about 1590, they said. Maybe 1600. But it originally had fan frets. It was probably the earliest one fan frets. You can see with the, they put like a regular straight frets on it or a straight nut. But this is like from carvings from like the 1700s. So they never, you know what I mean? Even though the instrument's totally not playable, it's got all carving on it. It's like a museum piece, you know what I'm saying? Unplayable just because of the way it was repaired. That bullshit, man. So that's existing, right? So we have 3 of them existing. That one's a former fan fret. This one is a Penorcan. This is the little mandolin size one. This has been missing since the end of the Second World War. You can see this mandolin guy. This old catalog picture from the 30s. Actually tied on frets. You see that? Nobody knows what happened to it, though. See that? The frets were actually tied on in a fan fret thing. Isn't that cool, man? Very, very, very trip. But look at the size of that, man. Look at the shape of it, too. What was the first, oldest, you know what I mean, six-string guitar known to man? It's from Spain. You know what? You see a picture of it? There it is. Look at the shape of it. Isn't that a trip, man? You know, that's 6 strings, you see? You know what I mean? Regular old modern 6-string. You know what I mean? From about 1779, I believe, was this instrument in the Met Museum in New York City. Right? Look at that shape, man. Isn't that just experimental times, people? Experimental days, man. Old days, right? So let's talk about our instrument. You know what I mean? Definitely left-handed, earliest left-handed one known to exist. I'm saying the guitar's from about 1800. You know what I'm saying? It's exactly a mirror image. You know, see how the frets go and everything. You know, it's definitely left-handed. Sorry to say. We got to string it right-handed. But you know what? If Paul McCartney came over and came on my show and recorded with me, I'd work a deal with you, Paul. You could have this instrument. You know what I mean? Very low price, man. Just hang out with me and come on my show, man. You know what I'm saying? Deal's a deal, man. Deal's a deal. Contact my peeps. So, take a look at all the other instruments currently on the market with the fan fret thing. All pretty much following the same. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Slanted deal. We got classical guitars. We got steel string guitars. We got electric guitars. That's a BC Rich. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I have no interest really in getting into the fan fret thing. Fan fret thing got into me. You know what I'm saying? So we'll put this away. You know what I'm saying? We're going to hang up this camera, clear a little space, man. We're going to unbox this together. I'm going to unbox it from this side. This seems to be the best way. We're going to see what it looks like, man. Take a look at it together. So here we are. About to cut her open. Hoss. Excited. Don't know what we're going to find. Hopefully it'll be intact. That's the important part, man. Intact guitar. This is supposedly the back. The front had like a lot of taping. I'm trying to like the chase, man. And I think we did the right thing. Right. This is something you don't want to spill on the floor. It's like OJ, man. Oh, nowhere. I couldn't find it. Find my glove. Found the other glove. My hat. I don't know what I did with the neck. I must have dropped it somewhere else. Come on, G. Oh, man. I was with you, OJ, till you came out with that book. I kind of might have did it, or whatever it was, you know. But just in case I didn't, you know. Come on, man. What do you say about that, smart guy? The book's titled, I Did It. Right. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Almost unreal. Touching this thing. Definitely real though. Good Lord. It's an old guitar. Survived a frigid. FedEx. Yeah. Real old gut string. Oh my God. Just clear this off. Take a better gander. This is a real deal Holyfield, man. Legitimate, man. This guitar is probably from like the 1790s, man. I'm saying, man. You know what I mean? It's so old. But there was like 2 restorations. Probably one in the 1850s where a couple, you know what I mean, cracks were like cleated in there. You can see. You know what I'm saying? It was taken apart a long, long time ago. And also, it looks like they restored this part, and like this part, and like this part right here. Seems to be somebody who was competent, like very competent, like an artisan, 100 years ago at least. It looked like in the 1950s, somebody a little more amateur sort of restored it too. There's some new cracks were not cleated, like just pump glue into it, like a Bobby G way. Like I feel he didn't even, you know what I mean? It's just glue, not cleated. But also, replace the frets. You see here, this is the original fret, this is the original fret, that's the original fret, that's the original fret. This, and the rest of them, these are all like jumbo frets. Standard jumbo frets from like the 50s, 60s, 40s, 30s, 20s maybe. No, they're not original. You can see where the line is drawn in the sand. Saddam must move or be removed. You know what I'm saying? That's what was said. Not too much difference in scale, really. You know what I mean? We're talking this like a 21-inch scale, and like the tenor string is like actually like 24-inch. So we don't even have like a full. So it's all a little parlor size. You know what I mean? Be all right. It looks like it's got a history of being strung completely throughout time in a right-handed manner. If you look at it, and this is like a silk string from like the 1850s. You can look at it at the end. And you see a lot of old strings, you know what I'm talking about. This string is probably original from like the early 1800s. Gut string, G string. It's a G string, it is. You know what I mean? And then we got, this is like a you know what I'm saying? Classical string, probably from, I don't know, whenever this guy got it. Let's say, you know what I mean, the 80s. You know what I mean? And these two strings are on it from the 50s. Can you believe it? These are steel strings. These aren't even classical strings. It's a steel string on this 240-year-old guitar. So we're going to take all the strings off. And be very careful removing these two strings. This is a very old historic string. Worth a little bit of money. You know, if you take a look at it. You know what I'm saying? Furnace goes on. Cold winter morning. You know what I'm saying? January times. The doldrums have been broken, people. Look at this original strap on. Isn't that crazy, man? Nothing really to be said about the back of the instrument. You know what I mean? It's almost too clean. It's like, like, is this real? But you look at certain areas of wear, you know what I mean? You can see where it's been stripped. You know what I mean? All the finish like that Vienna style guitar we had. You know what I mean? And you can just see how old it is. You know what I mean? You're like, oh yeah. Yeah. You see the cleats in that in the front there. It's so old. It's cool looking. These are even like, pegs from like the 1850s. Without a doubt. You know what I mean? So let's, take off these strings and I'll see you in the laboratory. You know what I mean? This, as I said, has been totally stripped clean. And Bobby G, you know what I mean, took aggressive action. This guy, when that same thing was happening, you know what I mean? And he refinished it. I'm not going to refinish that other one. You know what I mean? That guitar was like, you know what I mean, all messed up looking. This is beautiful. I just want to like put some oil on it or some sort. Some butcher's wax on it just to preserve it. Put a little glue back in there. You know what I mean? It hasn't had glue pumped into it in a long time. So let's do that, friends. I'll see you in the laboratory without any strings, man. Be real careful taking the string off. You see the gut, man. You see the vein, man. You ever see a gut string like close up, man? Bobby's going to show it to you, man. That's what it looks like, man. It's like a gut string, man. From like 1800. Can you believe that? You dig that, man? You know what I mean? It's a G string. The other ones were always had, I believe, some kind of, silver plating around it, right? I think. I might be wrong, man. I'm just so excited. Inside there. Inside there. See it. It weighs nothing. It's incredible, man. All right, man. I'll see you in the laboratory. I just want you to see it. Like the way I see it. So welcome back to the laboratory. So we're taking a better look at it after we did nudity of the strings. Just taking a better look at it, man. See inside the hole, man. You see the rough hewness about it. It's definitely cool, man. It's right on, man. So this is for sure the original bridge. And I look real close, man. This focus it. You can see. Let me take the right light off here. Yeah. Take a look at it, man. You can see like a trace of like a old, thick ass. You know what I mean? A string. You know what I'm saying? So this looks like this was originally, you know what I mean, Lefty. And the Lefty didn't have any guitars at his disposal, right? Who did back in those days? This is probably the only left-handed guitar existing on this planet from back then, right? And he loved it because it was unique. And maybe his grandson, 50 years later, wanted to get it restored, you know what I mean? He just started playing it righty, you know what I mean? Just played righty for a little while, and it just got abandoned, maybe. That's the story, man. Sounds good to me. So we got a little bit of water. I got a little douche ball here. Gonna use this Gorilla glue, man. I kind of like it, man. We're just gonna get into these cracks. There's a crack there. There's a crack there. There's a crack there. Crack there. There's a crack here. And all the crack, man. What? Get in here, man. It's everywhere, man. Everywhere we get a little bit of glue. You know what I'm saying? And we're just gonna, you know what I mean? Take it light on that. Let it set. You see this, man? Let me turn that light back on. There we go. This is all adhesive. It's like old. And this kind of sticker that was there. I got this glue gun. This is like surface safe, supposedly. It's made like serious lemon oil adhesive remover. So adhesive remover. We're gonna remove that adhesive, man. Douche ball the glue in, remove the adhesive. Two things at once, man. 1,000,000-year-old guitar. Please be with you. Say so. Alright, so we put glue in the back too, man. There's some cracks in the back, man. This one looked like it was done in the 50s, but it looks like, you know what I mean, the original finish is kind of like a little bit scuffed up here, man. It's like they shaved off a little bit too much of the patina, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing some patina loss. So we're going to take some mink oil, a little bit of it, and some brown polish first, right? Put the brown off first, a little mink oil on top of there. Just bring this back to where it belongs, man, without using anything unnatural. See you in a moment. Alright, so there we go, man. We're evening it out a little bit. We got some kiwi brown, which is a lot darker than this old Kmart brown. And at the end, we took some mink oil, put a little drop of black acrylic paint in it, and we just smeared it in there just to darken it up. You know what I mean? If you're over here and you're just looking at it, it looks like it was straight sanded before. And the shoe polish sort of lets you get a little sheen back into it, so it doesn't look like the patina has been too penetrated. So let's just let this set, you know what I mean, dry out. We got a lot of glue that we stuck in there, a lot of weird stuff. Foreign stuff, man. Let's just let it set. I don't know. Half a day, something like that. Man, I'll see you then, man. Peace be with you. Alright, so it's the next day. We spent a good like 8 hours just pumping glue in every crack. We found a big crack down here. Some more in here. Put more in the front, you know what I mean? All kinds of glue everywhere. After to get that glue off, though, you know what I mean? So we had to use a little tiny bit of water sparingly to get it off. Keep the hairdryer handy, you know what I mean? You don't want to get water because it starts degrading quickly, you know what I mean? It's like turning into powder, you know? This old Renaissance era wood, man. Old school, man. Very old guitar. So we did a little note taking on the instrument while we were sort of working on gluing. We also did a little bit of work on the frets. Kind of looked real good at the fretboard, and I gave a little shape to this section of original frets because they were just like little flat, you know what I mean? So we did a little fret shaping on there. Ran the file up and down there. It looked like it was perfect. You know, the fret job was professionally done, I guess, in Europe. To the guy who, I suppose this guy bought it from, the previous owner. You know, it was probably in the 50s, 60s, prepared for the antique market, you know what I mean? The collector market, you know what I mean? That's when the frets were sort of put on. There's a lot of fret wear, the cowboy chord positions from the, you know, secondary owner who was playing it right-handed. There's also some serious fret wear from the original owner. Here and up here, you can see he was doing a little bit of Eddie Van Halen shit. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is, man. It's just where the wear is, man. You can see it, though. It was all sanded out a little bit, you know what I mean? Sanded out. It was restored when they put these big jumbo frets on it. We put these frets all we have, Luigi. No, put them on there. Put them on. This is for the French market. They don't care. But it is a beautiful instrument, and I got to know it, you know what I mean, a lot better by taking care of it right there, you know what I mean? And put a good round over on there too. It was like a terrible round over too. We don't know about the round over. What's this round over? It was like just terrible. Now it's nice. Other than that, man, just glued it up. You know what I mean? Try to keep it as dry and free of all glue residue as we could. Try not to break up too much of this grease of patina, you know what I mean? Doesn't look like it's been played, you know what I mean, in many years. You know, it's kind of, you know what I mean? It's very, very light, you know what I mean? I hope I don't break this fucking thing. So let's get the wood treated a little bit, man. I got this old Hilbert original lemon oil. My wife actually has like the lemon oil fixation now. She found lemon oil down on our local Acme. And she's been using it on all of our furniture, you know what I mean? It's a modern kind. I was kind of, maybe I'll try that, you know what I mean? I was like, yeah, I've been using this for all my instruments for many years. I'm going to stick with it. I keep thinking about that new bottle she's got up there. It smells so nice. It's like the same looking thing, but it's like clean and clear. It's starting to get all cloudy, man. Is it good? Is it not good? This is like yellow looking, you know what I mean? Artificial yellow. Let's put that everywhere on this fucking thing. Let's get it greased. Let's get the grease back again. But let's do it in like a nice, careful way. You know, not in too extreme. Extremo. Hey, extremo. Don't get any in the hole. Right? Outside the hole, everything is game. Let's see after we greased up. Not bad, man. Not bad. Not too much. It's like perfect patina. You don't want to maybe take a little bowl of warm water and some like white vinegar if it gets too dark in certain places and just quickly wipe it off. Always keep the hair dry around, you know what I mean? Always ready to dry this thing up. You don't want to get it wet. I mean, tastefully. Look at the back, man. It looks like it's brand new. Look at that. Look at the side. It's the original finish, man. Just popped it. You know what I mean? We wiped that grease off real well. It still looks fucking like $1,000,000, man. So this is just, you know what I mean, dry. You know, it's still dry. You know, there's a couple things I've noticed. Though, man. See this, man? This is something that was replaced at one point, right? You know that, right? You know what I mean? Let's talk about Santa. No. What the hell about Santa? But in the Earl introductory phase here, you know what I'm saying? What happened was this got a little bit too light. It's not dark anymore. This piece of rosewood is a little bit too light. So we'll just take the furniture marker very carefully, darken this little piece up. Everything else looks copacetic, man. That guy just, he didn't, you know, when we got him greased up again, he didn't look right. Didn't look right at all. Let's try to get him right. See you in a second. Oh, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of trickery, man. It's good for the soul. So let's just let this guy, you know what I mean, settle. He's kind of greased up right now. You know what I mean? I can't talk to him on the phone right now. Leave a message, I'll get back to you. Beep. Hey, man. Looking good, man. Ready to play? I don't know, man. Been a long time. You nervous? Yeah, I'm real nervous. Well, what do you think's gonna happen? Maybe my neck's gonna come off. Yeah, your neck might come off. Pretty old. You know what I mean? Maybe one of my little pieces will come off and get lost. Yeah, that might happen too. Let's let it settle a little while. You know what I mean? We'll let it settle. We'll come back. We'll talk about like waxing. Wax on, wax off. Miyagi. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. See, just one shake of a lamb's tail. Peace be with you. Oh yeah. So it's been a couple hours. Actually brought it outside even. You know what I mean? Get some UV rays hitting on it. You know what I'm saying? It's looking good. We took a little bit of acrylics and wiped them in here. You know, right where, you know, all the mugrosity, you know, the scum had been like worn through. There are a couple lines along the cracks where things would just have been scraped through over the years. You know what I'm saying? It's what happens, you know, when you're trying to cure, you know, a wound on an old guitar. So we've masked them back off. We masked them all correctly. A little bit of acrylic masking. Can't see it. So it looks good. It's perfect. It's got the perfect timber. Timber. So let's take some butcher's, you know what I mean, bowling alley wax. All right, we're gonna adjust the front with it. The front and the fretboard, the rosewood fretboard. That's it with that. Then we're gonna take some mother's cleaner wax. This beautiful ebony veneer headstock, original, and everything else. And make it all super sheeny shiny. It's like real nice now. With just that Earl. Imagine what it would look like with a little bit of cleaner wax on here, man. So let's do it, man. Let's protect it. Because you can tell that this thing is going to start, you know what I mean, deteriorating, changing, you know, getting white again. We wanted to, like, seal in the, you know what I mean? We don't want it to look like it's stripped. We want it to look like a little bit kind of something purposeful on it, you know what I mean? Waxing up our surfboard. I can't wait for June. What is that? Came all curd in a hurl. It's kind of weird when things work out exactly like you want them to. It looks perfect. There's no kind of wonky spots. There's no like dark spots, light spots. It looks perfect. You know what I mean? It looks equally, you know what I mean, aged. Doesn't look like somebody has recently, you know what I mean, taken any kind of sand and blocks to the top to get it all white looking. But now it looks perfect. If you want to get rid of this, it's just wax and oil. You know, it's alcohol and vinegar. Take it right off. It'll look all white and ashy again. We don't really want it to be ashy, man. That's why we put on the cocoa butter, man. Anyway, man, the back still looks great. Look at that. See how that back part that we cleaned up before, still looking a little bit dirked out, man. It's not all, you know what I mean, right again. Everything's like permanente. Came out great, man. So now you own a man finally. Go out and find yourself a goyle. Flee from here, young man. Got a set of nice strings for you, man. We're string it righty, like I said, man. This is the best strings. These are expensive ones, man. These are made in France. See that, man? Made in France. That's how it is. 520B, man. This is the lowest tension you can get. This is for like old romantic guitars. This is made just for old, you know, guitars. Truth is, man, it's like even the original, you know what I mean, gut strings were higher tension than regular low tension strings. It's true, man. This man, I look all desperate, man. Hey, man, look at this old, he's got an old bathroom rug, man. From the 15 years ago, he's poorly, man. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. So I'm going to string it righty. But I'll tell you what, Paul McCartney, if you come by, man, I got a set in the drum just for you. Best of the best, man. They're from France, just like this guitar, man. Two centuries and a 3 stone difference. So here we go, man. Are you excited? I'm excited. Let's put some strings on it, man. Take a closer glamour shot to look. We don't really have much else to say. You know what I mean? It's like a museum piece, though, man. Oh, feel bad. Fucking it's mine. Mine. See the glamour shots, man. Several. And this is for you, Paul McCartney. Hey, man. It doesn't say the left-handed strings, though. What do you mean, Paul? In my rider it says left-handed Savarez strings. Paul, they're the same thing. I mean, it's a string's a string. No. This is not what I'm talking about. I don't want that on the guitar. Look, me and my guys will go home, and we're not going to do anything with your group. We're not going to do any film. Take the camera off me. Get the fuck out of here, you fucking... Wow. By the time I put the first string on it, I knew it was a world-class masterful instrument. By the time I got the second string on, I was excited. I was like sweating. Got all 6 strings on, put it in a tune, you know. Not a buzz, nothing. Whoever did that fret job 70 years ago with these jumbo frets, they did a good job. I'm glad I didn't mess with it. Not a buzz, nothing. Nothing moving around inside the body of the instrument. It sounds beautiful. Despite the fact that this is a left-handed instrument, strung right-handed. Brought to pitch the first time in, I don't know, 100 years. Strummed on for the first time in, I don't know, 100 years. You know what I'm saying? Strummed on poorly for the first time in, I don't know, 200 years. You know what I'm saying? It's incredible, man. It's really, really unbelievable how it sounds really good. You know what I mean? Strung righty. You know what I mean? Come on, Paul. Come on the show, man. You know what I mean? It could be yours. This is the first left-handed guitar ever. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to come on now, man. I made a fool out of myself. It's all right, Paul. You know what I mean? I was making fun of you about the strings, man. I'm just used to getting my way, you know? It's because my dad was an alcoholic. And Ringo. All right, Paul, come on. You come on the show, man. I didn't mean that about your dad. I don't even know him. You know? Seemed like a fine gentleman. Anyway, look at this thing. This is older than the flood, man. You know what I'm saying? When Noah got 2 of every species, he got this. You know what I'm saying? He got a bass. You know what I'm saying? A couple drums. And after the flood was over, you know what I'm saying? Jammed the fuck out, man. Wasn't in the Bible. They had to cut some shit out, you know what I mean? For time, you know what I mean? It's a long book. So let's hear it. Because I can tell you how wonderful it sounds. You know what I'm saying? It could take me another 250 years, you know? I want you to hear it. Strung righty. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter. It still sounds like, you know what I mean, ringing a bell. You know what I'm saying? What all your little, you know what I'm saying, expectations, your minds will be blown. And then after that, we'll say, peace be with you, 2023. Look after yourself. Peace be with you. Look after yourself. Look at that. That's ancient. Ancient. Can you believe that? That guitar is over 200 years old. Can you believe that? That guitar is almost as old as this country. The year 1800 was the year that Washington, D.C. was founded. Really? It's a beautiful instrument.
I wish you a happy new year. It's a gorgeous little instrument. The first known existing left-handed instrument on the planet. The earliest surviving specimen of a guitar that was specifically built for a lefty is right here in my hand, in my collection. And the first fan-fretted guitar existing, as far as I know, from the year 1800. I'm being conservative that date. This thing is old as hell. It's old as hell, people. Anyway, Beatle Paul, man. Jamming out on it, you know what I mean? This is really a museum piece, man. I have no business playing with a pick, playing twist and shout on it. That's stupidity, man. Peace be with you. God bless you, man. Paul McCartney, man. Let's talk, man.
I can't come on the show. Already made a fool out of myself. I told you. There's always tomorrow, Paul. There's always tomorrow, huh? Maybe I will come on. Maybe I will come on. Peace be with you. Wash your hands, you dirty old git.